The word martial and martial law goes all the way back to Mars, the god of war in Roman mythology. But I think it goes a bit further than that with these civilizations prior to this who also had Mars as a god of war, such as Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Greece. In ancient Mesopotamia, the planet Mars was identified with Nergal, a powerful and often sinister god of war, death, and pestilence, associated with the planet's red color, which was seen as the color of blood and fire. He represented destruction and disease. However, Nergal also held other associations, such as being a judge of the dead and a god of limits and necessity, indicating a complex mythology that included both destruction and order. This is what I'm talking about with either like the merging together or rebranding of their deities. Because look at Nergal was introduced to Egypt likely by Hyksos and was identified with a similar pre-existing Canaanite god named Resheph. The Egyptians adopted the worship and worshipped Resheph as a warlike god of healing with the evidence of a cult from the Ramesside period. Nergal was a prominent god in Sumerian, Akkadian, and Babylonian mythology, associated with war, plague, and the underworld. The worship of Nergal spread and reached Egypt, but through it, its assimilation with Resheph, a god from the Levant. In Egypt, Resheph became associated with Nergal's attributes and was depicted as a powerful, armed god with a bow and shield. He was invoked as a warlike god, but also a protective healer. Now notice, he was associated with Nergal's attributes, just named Resheph. This is where stuff gets interesting because everyone here knows who follows me that I believe that America is the real promised land. America is the real old world. Israel, Egypt, Mesopotamia, all that. It really is. So I was looking up the etymology of Nergal since he's the first god of Mars, god of war that we know of. And that makes sense because biblically speaking, Mesopotamia is like one of the earliest civilizations recorded in the Bible. And Egypt. And then later Greece and Rome. And all ironically happened to oppress the Israelites at some point in time in the Bible. Anyways, the etymology of Nergal comes from the Sumerian name Lord of the Big City, a euphemism for the underworld. It is composed of the Sumerian sign for Lord, City, and Big. While its exact origins are debated, the name became associated with the war, plague, and destruction, eventually transforming into the Mesopotamian deity Nergal. The phrase the big city can refer to several places, but most commonly refers to New York City, which is in the state of New York. Another very large city often mentioned is Los Angeles, located in the state of California. New York City, often referred to as the Big City, and also nicknamed the Big Apple. It is in the New York State. New York City is the biggest city in the U.S. by population, with Los Angeles and Chicago following in second and third place, respectively. The biggest city is generally determined by population, not land area. Otherwise, Alaska would take like first, second, and possibly third because they have huge cities with massive amount of land. Anyways, New York City has the largest population in the U.S. with figures showing it has over 8 million residents. So I started looking into what symbolism has to do with Nergal. And he has a mace that has a double-headed lion on it. And he also has a bull that represents him. But a sword is a very other prominent thing that represents, but it's not just any sword, it's a specific sword, it's a scimitar. Yes, the Mesopotamian god Nergal is associated with the scimitar. Iconography consistently depicts him as a fierce warrior carrying a scimitar and a mace topped with a double lion's head. The scimitar is one of Nergal's primary symbols of power alongside his lion head mace. He is frequently shown in artistic depiction with these weapons, often striding and trampling a human figure underfoot. These weapons, especially the scimitar and the lion-headed mace, represent his role as the god of war, destruction, and death. And then his name, again, remember, Lord of the Big City, right? New York. Just showed you how it's called the Big City. Just showed you how it's the biggest city population-wise. So let me show you some more stuff. So I was looking for a scimitar statue in New York because, like, there's so much old world symbolism all over everything. Even here in Portland, Oregon, there's so much old world symbolism everywhere. It says there is no famous scimitar statue in New York, but a statue with a missing scimitar once stood on a courthouse. And we know that all the courthouses, the old banks, all the like government, state-owned kind of or very high private-owned things usually have to do with the old temples. Skip the rest because it's just speaking nonsense and go down to the statue of Muhammad, removed. A statue of Muhammad featuring a scimitar was once located at the exterior of a courthouse in New York. The scimitar blade fell off at some point, and the statue was removed years ago, as noted by the New York Times. This is the statue with his scimitar that he was holding. Right here at the bottom of this page, you can see on the New York Times, this was the same statue with the same scimitar. And in the Supreme Courthouse, they have this one with him with the scimitar engraved in it. In New York as well. You're probably wondering, what does Muhammad have to do with any of this? But this is the rebranding I'm talking about, because you're going to see right now. The Meslam Temple and Nergal. The Meslam Temple, located in the city of Kutha, was the primary worship site for Nergal. The name Meslam Tehia is an epithet for Nergal, meaning he who comes forth from Meslam, and was used as an alternative name for him. So what does Meslam sound like? Islam? Muslim? I'm not saying it's for sure, but it's weird he's associated with the scimitar, and so is Muhammad, and that they had a statue of Muhammad. That scimitar disappeared, and then they took the statue down. That we have him in our courthouse, our Supreme Court house as well. Just a little weird. Before it was known as New York City Center, it was called the Mecca Temple. From its opening in 1924 until the city took it over in 1942 and renamed it. The name Mecca was for the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine, or Shriners, who built the hall, and the building had a neo-Moorish design. Shriners are literally another group of Freemasonry. Again, that's just the rebranding, as you can see. And that's who they say built it. So this is it now. You can see a little dome on my picture. This is it now, right? And that was it before. You see the Mecca on it? Alright, see? That was it before. And now you can see where Mecca once was on that building. They definitely, you could see, changed that. So this was actually a real Mecca temple before. I don't care what nobody wants to say, but I just think it's rebranding from the earlier Mesopotamian deity, Nergal, the original Mars god of war. And look at the shape of these doors. They start off wide on the bottom, and then they get smaller. Same with these ones. They start off wide, and they get smaller. Almost like a full circle, just a little bit of it's cut out for the bottom of the door. So this is where their Mecca temple is right now, and the doors look very similar. You see this door? How it's wide at the bottom, and then it goes in and curves at the top. This is where they had the statue of Muhammad with the scimitar on top of it. It was the Appellate Division of the New York Supreme Court. It was the New York County, County Courthouse, which is now the location of the Manhattan Appellate Courthouse. The building was originally constructed to house the New York State Supreme Court and is located in Manhattan. But look what's on the door of the old Mecca temple. Isn't that Islam? And we got this. In Islam, the scimitar is a symbol of power, victory, and protection associated with both historical Islamic conquest and religious significance. While the Prophet Muhammad's early swords were straight, the curved scimitar became popular through Turkish and other warriors, and its symbolism was enhanced by its crescent shape, which resembles the crescent moon as an important Islamic symbol. Scimitars were widely used by Arab, Persian, and Turkish armies and were particularly effective for cavalry due to their light weight and curved design for slashing. The sword became a symbol of power and prestige for rulers and elites across the Islamic world. The curved blade of the scimitar is often linked to the crescent moon, an important and widely recognized symbol in the Islamic culture. In the Islamic world, the scimitar became one of the representatives of victory, protection, making it a sacred weapon. Some traditions associate the scimitar with Zulfikar, the sword of Ali ibn Abi Talib, a significant figure in Islam. Today, the scimitar is seen in Islamic cultures, appearing in crests, architectural design, and ceremonial dress as a reminder of his history and symbolism. That's why you see the crescent moon with the scimitar right here in New York at the real temple. The original Meslam prior to it being Islam. Now I'm going to make a second video talking about how Nana and Nergal being brothers, Nana being named Sin in Akkadian language is the crescent moon, or symbolized a lot by the crescent moon, while Nergal is symbolized a lot by the scimitar. And I don't think this is by coincidence. A scimitar and a crescent moon are right here in New York City. So I'm about to make a part 2 soon.